Woody had gone right to the police, this would never have happened.
Uh-oh.
So, there are liberties being taken, like, there's going to be an increased amount of shit talk.
Oh, I have to remind myself I'm here willingly.
Catch one with a little bit of attitude, big guy?
Man, you champion son.
Well, it's a kangaroo court.
What do you mean how is the NFL a kangaroo court?
Could you please let me explain why?
No, I don't want to hear this garbage. Give me an answer to the questions I asked you.
What the fuck are we doing?
Come on with it, baby!
Thanks, boy.
Italian. I'll talk to you later.
Let's get to the scene,
All right.
right?
My undercarriage is sweating.
You call her Stephanie, I call her Stephanie. You call her Stephanie, I call her Stephanie.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs. All right, and welcome into another edition of Third Manageable Podcast. I am your host, Matt Diegert, and as always, to my left, right, center, up, down, backwards is Student Body Right.
Yo!
He's right there with me.
What's up, man?
Glad to have you for the ride for this season. This is an incredible season, and hopefully it does not end tomorrow night. But we have the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I do want to thank Elliot Apollos for having us again for this playoff run. Definitely, as always.
if you're not here, keep it in your home.
Everything you need.
Nothing you don't, Maddie. Maddie, we got the 13-4. Buffalo Bills taking on the 15-2 Kansas City Chiefs. That's going down to Arrowhead. 15-2.
Oh, yeah, they did lose to Broncos at the end.
Not a good start.
Wow.
Needed you to dial in, Matt. Need you to dial in. Okay, 15-2 Chiefs, as I was saying. That goes down at 6:30 Arrowhead Stadium tomorrow. And reports on the ground, you guys are there in strong numbers. Love to see it. Anytime you can take a pulse out of a team by putting your ass in the seat, we love it. That game goes on at 6:30. Catch it on CBS. We have Jim Nance calling that with Tony Romo. If that's not your steez, turn up WGR 550. You got Erica Wood on the call, friend of the show, and we got Brownie. Maddie, we got here for one reason. That's because we took care of the Raisins. How do we get here, man?
Yeah, so I mean, the Bills beat them 27-25. It felt like that game was in hand until the last couple of minutes there. They did drive down the field, put it in. It felt like I said it this morning on Hockey Hotline when we touched on it for a brief minute, talking about Third Manageable tonight. Really just wanted to touch on that, and the Ravens really brought it back, and it felt like that they were playing for that 2-point conversion, given the best play on there at that point.
Yeah, we took away hope. We took away their control of the game simply by playing our game. And this game is widely covered. It's going to be the biggest one going tomorrow. I definitely think, Maddie, this eclipses the NFC. And with so much coverage, we wanted to show you some synergy. Here's somebody you should be listening to. Mr. Kevin Syracuse joins the show. Kevin Syracuse, how you doing? Thanks for making time for us, my man. You in a stock room?
This is the skating room at Fredonia State.
Oh, man. Dude, congrats, by the way. If anybody doesn't know, Kevin Syracuse is employed by Built in Buffalo. He has a great show called Going Deep with Mr. Kevin Messeri. You can catch them on Wednesday nights, or you can catch him on Kicks Country for all your high school sports, and as well as just a huge facility undertaking in the Fredonia area. You definitely recognize him. And we recognize the voice, so let's hear that voice. Kevo, where are the nerves at right now?
Well, first of all, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you perfectly, lad.
Perfect, because this is the first time doing it on my phone, so I'm glad that works. First of all, I just want to say that it's huge that Joe Brady turned down the Saints offer today, at least the offer for a second interview. So I'm glad that he can focus on winning the Super Bowl this year. So that's great news. Gives me a little bit of comfort going into tomorrow. And I guess the best way to sum up my feelings, someone just texted me and I was like in the middle of texting back when I joined. I think the best way to say it is I'm cautiously optimistic. Like I feel like the Bills can do it, but you still want to be cautious because Kansas City's a different animal in January.
Certainly are. But they did see a different beast out of us. They didn't see a ton of Alec Anderson the first time. They did not see a ton of Spencer Brown the first time, and we still got it done. Does this cautious, I don't know, that was French Canadian. Does this cautious optimism, the cautious part, does that come from our playoff history with the Chiefs, or does it come from a long line of waiting for the other shoe to drop when we get this far in the playoffs, Kevo?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything because you got to give credit to Kansas City because they're a good team. They know how to win. We could have a separate conversation about how lucky they've been this season. But again, they are 11-0 in one-score games this year. So you got to give them credit, and that's why you want to be cautious. But you also want to be cautiously optimistic because you think that this is probably our best chance in a long time, but you don't want some of those past mistakes to rear their ugly head again. And by that, I mean, you want the defense to show up tomorrow and show out. You want McDermott to be the Sean McDermott that we saw last week against Baltimore. And we don't want to see him become that game manager or where he's making those questionable game management decisions. The clock management issues, obviously everyone remembers 13 seconds. So I think that's why
Smiley having his headset upside down.
Yeah, that too. Matthew Smiley and the special teams. You could talk about Tyler Bass and his kicking woes, but to his credit, he literally won the game for the Bills last week with his 9 points. So that's why last week was so much fun because everything kind of came together. And I'm glad that you were able to clear, not you specifically, but we, I guess I should say, the Bills were able to clear that hurdle against Baltimore. So that's step one. Now you got to be able to clear Kansas City. And then obviously the Super Bowl. So it felt good that McDermott had a great game last week. He outcoached Harbaugh. Tyler Bass had a very solid week. Matthew Smiley, to your point. But now, again, it's just a different beast in Kansas City, especially in that stadium. So now you got to show that you can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like they kind of have to throw out the game plan from last week and go back to what they do best. And no, we always say it when we play Kansas City is we don't want anybody less athletic chasing down Patrick Mahomes. So I'm glad to have Terrell Bernard this year in this game, and also a healthy Matt Milano.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, I'll pose it to you. And, I'm a big defensive guy. I had a couple snaps in college doing the same. It was impressive to me the way we ran a cover one rat versus Lamar, because you saw when he was staying in pocket and contained just by nature of our pass rush, Bernard was able to bail quick in getting to his landmarks and getting those slot receivers off from the hash. How integral has this linebacking core been, and how integral will they be tomorrow, in your humble opinion?
I think it's going to be huge because Terrell Bernard said in his press conference, or at least in one of his interviews this week, that this will be the first time that him and Matt Milano have played together in the playoffs. And I kind of took a step back and I was like, oh my God, he's right. Like we just haven't seen that tandem together. So the fact that Milano is back healthy, we would presume, they said that he's going to play. Was he a full participant in practice yesterday?
I believe he was doing extra sideline drills. I did not see the injury report. Maddie, you got that for me?
Who?
He's talking Milano.
Milano was a full participant. So was Taron Johnson. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Milano's going to be playing alongside Terrell Bernard, and then just extending it to Taron Johnson as that third linebacker. But I guess I'll use that to segue into this is a different type of defense that the Bills are going to have to run, because last week it was such a run-heavy approach that you're game planning for with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson is that two-headed monster. But now I think you can go back to using that nickel defense to your bread and butter. And that's why Taron Johnson is going to be so integral. And maybe even Cam Lewis too. I'm going to give
if we get in that dime package, the dime package of Taron Johnson, Cam Lewis, and Bernard, those are some sure tacklers in space, which you definitely need. But also, I do believe that if we have to shrink down and get to in base defense, you have a Dorian Williams that can come in with replacing Toronto if he just needs a breather, because. Probably I would say Taron Johnson is a top 10 corner in the league, but he just happens to play the nickel linebacker for us. Now, if Benford can't go, and we'll have Thigh Doctor on a little later because he's calling a full participation. How confident are you with Kyrie Elon stepping in? He does have playoff experience. He did pick off a ball in the red zone last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers after him being inflicted with a pass interference. Kyrie Elam might see some time. That worry you, or Balin Spector? Does that worry you more that he is active and there might be a need for him as well? Because both have had tough goes as of late.
Well, they ruled Spector out, right? That was with today's elevations with Kareem.
Got it. Understood.
So Spector's out. I think that's better because nothing against him, but it's better off that he's not.
I mean, I think Pat Moran said if Dorian Williams has an arm, there's no reason Balin Spector should be on the field. That's a little harsh, but don't shoot the messenger.
I mean, it kind of feels like Balin Spector is very very similar to AJ Klein, and we don't need that on the field this year.
Exactly.
So, as you're expanding, I cut you off a couple times.
That's right. So, for Kyer, I guess I would say the same thing. Cautiously optimistic because, he's shown flashes. He has good ball skills, good athleticism, but he gets handsy a lot and he gets penalized a lot, and sometimes he'll get burned. So, I think I'm more of a fan for Kyer than some people are, but at the same time, I'm not like, oh my God, banging the drum. This guy needs to play. If it'll be Christian Benford and Rasul Douglas full time, I'm 100% fine with that because I would rather not see Kyrie Elam. But if we have to see him, I think he will be able to make some plays in spot situations. And going off that Dorian Williams point, I love Dorian, but this isn't the week that I want to see him. That was last week in those heavy packages against Derek.
Sure.
So this week it's kind of like that Denver game, where you don't have to worry about this rushing attack as much as that Derrick Henry-led rushing attack, right? Because now you can kind of hone in on the quarterback. Before it was Bo Nix because you don't have to worry about Javonte Williams and Audric Estime that much. Now you hone in on Patrick Mahomes because while Pacheco and not Pirine, but Kareem Hunt, well, I guess you want to throw Pirine in there too, but
yeah, I guess you could.
This rushing attack is probably better than Denver's, but they're still not a threat. So that's why I think you can just get back to that nickel defense, leave Taron out there for at least 90% of the snaps. And that's why I think it all starts up front. You got to win at the line of scrimmage on offense and defense.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'd just like to get your brief take on, Kevin, is the Chiefs do have a propensity to run 3 tight ends. They do get heavy in that personnel. We saw a lot of 13 personnel last time for the uninitiated. That'd be 1 running back and 3 tight ends. And the 3 tight ends, you got Kelsey, Gray, and Hendershot. I mean, if we see some more heavy personnel, 13 personnel, 21, 22 personnel. Well, how important do you think interior linemen like Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Jefferson are going to be to kind of clog up that middle if we decide to go to base?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think everything starts up front. The Bills have to get pressure. Now, credit to them for stepping up last week against Baltimore because they admitted that they heard all the noise from the outside where people were saying that you're too small, you're not quick enough, you're not big enough, you can't stop Derrick Henry. And they said, okay, watch this. We're going to stop him. And they did. But again, that goes back to my first point. This is a different beast in Kansas City because time and time again, this defensive line, I mean, the defense as a whole, but specifically up front on the line, they've fallen asleep and they've gone non-existent against the Chiefs in the playoffs for whatever reason. So I'm going to start with Von Miller because this is exactly the type of game that the Bills signed him for when they gave him that 6-year, $120 million contract. Now, I know they've reworked it, so it's not as bad as it may appear on surface. But regardless, you got to get pressure from Von Miller. Greg Rousseau has not been the same Greg Rousseau against the Kansas City Chiefs that maybe he has been in the regular season. And to your point, you got to get that interior pressure with Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Quentin Jefferson, Jordan Phillips, because you need to wreak havoc and you can't let Mahomes dance around in the pocket or else he will find ways to beat your defense just like Josh Allen will.
Right. And one of the things that, we do put out is we put out our ref report every week. And I wanted to touch on this with you real quick because it's been a big, big contention point this week.
A lot of laundry on the field.
Yeah. I mean, a big contention point this week with, everybody saying, oh, the Chiefs are getting this or they're getting that, they're getting this. Clete Blakeman is actually the official this week. And the Bills are, they're 6-2. With Clete Blakeman, and the Chiefs are 5-6. So, I mean, how do you feel that that's gonna? Do you think that that's gonna play a significant role?
Oh,
in this game?
He's got to say yes, right?
I think so, but it's so hard to say because I just feel like naturally you're thinking that the calls are going to go against us and they're going to go in favor of Kansas City because for whatever reason, it seems like Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid kick it up a notch as the season goes on. But it seems like the refs also kick it up a notch. And the further the Chiefs go, the more help they get from the refs. And I hate to say that because you want to be unbiased and say that it's Buffalo against Kansas City. But after all the calls that we've seen, and it's not even just Bills fans too. I mean, you look at the Texans game last week, Bengals, Falcons, like pick your game, Denver, or the Chiefs, again, give them credit, but they escaped very luckily. It just makes you a little bit concerned in the back of your head that you could get Mahomes on the ground, you get that interior pressure, and then 5 seconds later, roughing the passer.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one thing for sure. But I actually saw a stat this week also is 54% of the calls actually go against the home team when Clete Blakeman is the referee. Yep. So, I mean, it makes it more almost like even with it as well.
I just want to see a balanced game called, and I don't want to see a narrative turn to people that are not wearing chin straps. That's all I'm asking for. I don't necessarily need a game as tight as Kadarius Toney's toe. Habitual line stepper. Kadarius Toney is a habitual line stepper. I don't need it as tight as that, but I don't want to see it come down to a judgment call. Maybe this is going to be the debut for the NFL using the Sky Judge, because I'm still not sure what he does. So, Kevin, we do appreciate it that you came on at Kevin Syracuse. You can catch him on Kicks Country. You can catch him in the Fredonia area. You can catch him on. Yep, and Built in Buffalo, and that great podcast they run on Wednesday nights, going deep with Kevin Sarah. Hey, we're gonna send you off, Kevo. Let me get a score prediction.
All right. Last week I had a gut feeling that the Bills were gonna handle business by 2 scores, and I thought it was gonna be a Sean McDermott legacy game. It wasn't. It could have been. They were a few yards away from making that a 2-score game, but Baltimore's offense did come alive in that second half. But to my point, the Bills defense made a lot of plays. I'm really not getting any gut feelings, and I know we're less than 24 hours from kickoff. So I just keep coming back to I think it's going to be back and forth, and some team is going to win in the final seconds, I'm going to say. And I'm going to say that it's finally going to be Buffalo 30-27. Tyler Bass gets his revenge, game-winning field goal, kicking us into the Super Bowl.
We appreciate it, Kevin Syracuse. Thank you very much. Catch him on Wednesday nights. Bring it down. We'll see you later. Back-to-back, nothing but illustrious guests. He called it all week. He soothed our nerves, and he's trying to tell us the nerves in the lower extremity of Christian Benford are okay. We welcome from Buffalo Fanatics Network, the good doctor, the strong doctor, the upstate doctor, Thigh Doctor. What's up, my man? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing really good. What about you?
We're at this little place called Ilio de Palos, and if Marinar cannot settle our nerves, maybe you can. So what's the deal, man? How you liking the health, wealth, and the people we're going to be able to equip on the field? We have no rep. We have who else? Who just got rolled out?
Nobody.
No, just no rap. So how are you thinking about the health, wealth, and bring us through? Why are you so confident? Benford's playing tomorrow, my man. Hit me with it.
Before we get into injuries, can I just say
something? Oh, no. I knew this.
Can I just say something?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Big shout out to Ilya DePalos, hosted me as a young child with the Hamburg Sea Otters swim club. I was one of the best 50-yard butterflyers that were in the
I think you're brave for coming out. you're coming out as an otter on air. I think that's a brave move, man. Inclusion always and always. So yeah, shout out Ilios. I mean, you're Lackawanna, not to give up the goods, but you grew up in the area and you took it to new heights. How fun to been covering the Bills, being a hometown boy but a little bit displaced.
Yeah, I mean, I'm downstate now, but it's a lot of fun. Keeps me connected.
We appreciate your tax dollars paying for that new stadium.
Aren't you paying taxes too?
We don't talk about my IRS problems on air, Doctor. I thought that was on my bugaboo list. No, but seriously, to pivot in, Christian Benford, what are you seeing? You break down a ton of tape, it gets a ton of eyeballs, and I think it should. What are you seeing that you can impart on the more casual fan that leads you to believe that he is going to have a positive, healthy impact tomorrow and be active in the game plan?
I have full confidence that he's clearing protocol. He was on the flight today. But why did I think that? So if you just go on history, the Bills usually let the guys come back in a week with their concussions in the playoffs, but they do usually give them 1 week off during the season. I think it's player dependent, and you definitely know that they're pushing this one through, no doubt about it. Not saying that he hasn't cleared it. That's not what I'm saying. But, usually they're a little more conservative during the season, but I knew this one was coming. You go the week before, Ray Davis got a concussion, and he came back to practice in a limited fashion, even though it was with the red non-contact. But getting him back in on Wednesday was a good sign, and then he was cleared in a week for the divisional game.
Certainly, so that allows. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, then you see Benford went down with a concussion, even though it didn't look like much. And then there he was at practice on Wednesday, so I had full confidence he was going to get pushed through.
We're gonna throw it, and we're thankful you have it on. Thank you for taking your time once again. We're on with the Thigh Doctor for Buffalo Fanatics. That dance is patented. It is well rehearsed, and hopefully people get a lot more familiar, because the more this guy's right, the more you're going to be lunging. This segment's called Off the Rack. Player equipment changes that we notice, and something that Thigh Doctor just touched on is that Guardian cap. The Guardian cap first worn on the season by Taylor Rapp. We saw it last week with Christian Benford. Those are some of the stats on it. Where you at with this Guardian cap?
DeMar.
Do you think DeMar? Yeah. Do you think it's gonna catch on the more we pay attention to the above the shoulder injuries and kind of take that a little bit more seriously and regimented, and players getting back? Would you expect Benford to be wearing one tomorrow?
It's a good question. Ray Davis came back and he didn't wear his. Rapp has worn one all year. And does DeMar still wear it, or did he just wear it for a little bit and now it's off again?
I believe he just wore it last game. That was his first issue. Rapp has been wearing it since the concussion. It's interesting. Rapp combines it with the Q collar. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit. I believe, does that restrict blood flow, or does that increase blood flow to mitigate cranial injuries?
Yeah, to be honest, it's one or the other. Neither of these two have been proven to limit concussions, but I think there's some good evidence anecdotally, and it just kind of makes sense. So I think guys will try anything they can do to keep their brains in good health if they think they are one little knock away from getting knocked out.
Interesting. Yeah, we were texting with Bud Carpenter earlier, and he was just like, we're in a good spot health wise, but you being in more of the orthopedic capacity, do you see with some of these more spread teams and these mobile quarterbacks an uptick this season? Because I'm just a blind, dumb stockbroker. I see like a lot of lower extremity stuff, and how much credence do you get that to the turf being harder, the hits, they don't want them upstairs for the aforementioned head trauma. Where do you kind of see that going? In part two, give us what you think Milano is dealing with, and maybe what capacity of health do you think he's playing with? Because I would bet the house that I don't think it's 100%.
Good questions. For the uptick in lower extremity injuries, I don't have that in front of me that says it is, but there is a correlation to turf and ACL injuries and less injuries on grass. So, take that for what it's worth. Nothing moves the pendulum so strongly where it's like hey, like the NFLPA should just vote down turf altogether. But
Well, I think it's Jerry Jones first, then the
PA. You're right. Money talks there. So it just makes sense to play on grass, and there is enough evidence out there to make it look like that should be the case. So I think it's great the Bills are moving to a grass field. And then for Milano, so Milano came up with a hamstring at the end of the game. He stayed out for the whole last drive. He wasn't there for the 2-point conversion. They're calling it soreness. Things don't just get sore like, hey, it's just sore. Like, we're just going to hold him out at the most crucial part of the game. He probably tweaked his hamstring. He's got a history of hamstring strains. He's probably has some type of very, very low-grade strain and probably in the muscle belly, not the tendon. And they just knew he's going to roll, so they are rolling with it. And I think, like, some people are like, oh, McDermott's just trying to make something out of nothing. I think he's trying to make less out of something big, so it's not a distraction that he's got a hamstring strain coming out in 1 week. So
we do have a question. I'll swing it to Matt.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves or anything like that. But one of the listeners, he wanted to know: do you think that Rapp would be available for the Super Bowl if we were able to get over?
I hope so. He's getting 2 weeks off if we win tomorrow.
Yeah, he'd have 3 weeks recovery. So you'd assume he wouldn't have called it day to day if he was going to not be available 3 weeks from the time of the injury. So yeah, I do think he'd be available for the Super Bowl.
What is his injury? I mean, from everything you saw.
Yeah, funny you asked. So it's interesting. He kind of like got his foot planted and then got like rotated and thrusted into like a deep squat. So you definitely can see
how deep, yeah. Boy.
Ass to grass. So he definitely
that's flexibility.
Yeah, he probably did chew something up in his joint. Commonly would be the labrum. I would assume he didn't have a fracture of the pelvis or a dislocation, or they wouldn't have called it day to day. So it's probably just got a lot of inflammation there. They also slashed it with the back, and he does get kneed in the back by Hamlin. He gets hit on the side of the hip he hurt, the right hip, and Hamlin's other knee hits his low back on the left. So he might just be all sorts of wacky. Or he literally could have sprained his low back too.
So I mean, is it more of like a hip pointer type injury, or is it something completely different?
I'm gonna guess it's not a hip pointer, but it could be if he got hit in the iliac crest on the side of his hip. That's just how I feel about it. Yeah, I definitely think it's more in the joint, just the way he got rolled.
That sounds like a British royal family, the iliac crest. Or like the next, the next Cillian Murphy fucking saga going on to Netflix. Thought Doctor, appreciate you coming on with us. Do you think Von Miller is going to get a sack tomorrow? Is that important to you anymore?
Can I get deep with you about something?
Oh, deep as I could take it, buddy, and it's deep.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, you're going to be shitting pancakes after this. So, I had a dream last night that we're going to see big.
Starting with Martin Luther King, that's strong.
We're going to be, yeah, you're right. We're going to see big games if my dream comes to fruition. Big games out of Von and Ray Davis, and Big Red is going to make a big mistake.
Ooh,
that's what happened in the dream.
All right, in the dream, what was the scoreboard at the end, my man? Give us a score prediction from the Thigh Doctor. Catch him on Buffalo Fanatics. Catch him for the injury reports. Matt, it's everything you need.
Nothing you don't.
Give us a score prediction, good doctor.
Comfortable.
Are we talking new era caps on the sidelines at the last two possessions, or what are we talking?
No, not that comfortable, but 2 scores and decided like in the last 3 minutes.
Hey man, do appreciate you popping on, man. Always good to have you. Hey, go Bills from the downstate brethren. Good to see you, dude.
Go Bills, guys.
Go Bills.
I like that guy. He's right about a lot. So let's throw it to some sponsors really quick, and we'll keep it moving. We still got Ayers, Why You Suck. We got the Peak in the Pit, and Who You Talking To. We'll be back in a minute.
My music hits me so hard, makes me say, oh my Lord, thank you for blessing me.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs. All right, and my partner in crime kind of left for a few seconds here. I think he had to get some air real quick because it is getting a little hot in the restaurant here. But just wanted to touch on some things real quick. The NFC Championship game, we got the Eagles and the Commanders tomorrow. That's going to be a very good game. I really think. I mean, we saw how well that they played against each other. And you do have a injured Jalen Hurts going into that game. AJ Brown, Jaden Daniels, so it's going to be a very good game going on at 3:00 tomorrow. Before and we will see who we play.
By the time we play,
I can't remember what I was supposed to say.
we will know who we play
by the time we play,
if we're playing.
So,
man, we rehearsed that the entire time. Anyway,
I know.
Here's our next segment. You guys like it? It is called Here.
Oh, yeah. Let's do the other one.
It's called Here's Why You Suck. It is sponsored by the CX Chronicles. CX Chronicles, your full customer service manager. Make happiness a habit. Make customers happiness a habit. Here's Why You Suck. It's a segment where Matt tells me why I'm the worst person in the world, and I tell Matt why he's just a shade better than me. Matt, here's why you suck. On the way here, you put on possibly one of the catchiest songs ever. I mean, the greatest song, the impression that I get from Muddy Muddy Boss Tones. And that like invokes like very happy times. They got the guy in the zoot suit just dancing all the time, just, but you followed up that song with dimming the music a little bit, kind of turning it off and being like, I just want to punch someone in the face right now, but not in a bad way. Here's why you suck is that you cannot control your anxiety and it bleeds into my anxiety.
I did not say wanted to punch somebody in the face. I said I wanted to be hit in the mouth.
You wanted to be hit in the mouth?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we don't get into your private lives here. If you're into that, that's not my business. But that is why you suck. You have too much anxiety. You have too much belief for that anxiety. And that is why you suck this week. Matt, tell me why I suck.
Yeah, I mean, well, real quick. I mean, it still comes from playing days and wanting to be hit in the mouth to kind of get going and kind of like Josh Allen does a little bit. So, but here's why you suck. It's because you keep losing your damn license. And you had mine for about a week. I don't know what kind of weird stuff you were doing with that. And I don't expect to open my credit report to see.
You should open your garage. You have a Miata being delivered. That's my present to you for doing the show. You wouldn't take your top off with me, but we'll take the top off that car when you open up your garage. But anyway, that's the segment. Here's why you suck. Sponsored by the CXC, the CX Chronicles, your total customer service representatives. Matt, I got something on my mind right now, and it has to do with a guy who's courting possibly the baddest female, probably the most popular female on earth. Like, go back to Kim Kardashian. Taylor Swift is way more popular than Kim Kardashian at her height. So we're talking about number 87, Travis Kelce. Number 85 in your program. Number 35, rotations around the sun. I was watching a lot of film this week, Matt, and what concerns me is him out of the trips. The trip formation, the three-prong formation. He could stack up anywhere he wants. He can play the skinny, he can play the crown, or he can play the outside. They can also set him in motion, offset. We need our linebackers to play fantastic tomorrow. And they also play fantastic tandem ball, almost reminiscent of Gronk, Hernandez. You hate when, Bad things happen to good people. Rest in peace, Aaron Hernandez. But I know, I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. No, but the tandem of Kelsey and Gray tomorrow and getting big sometimes in those 22 personnel, the 13 personnel is very important. Matt, what is it? 1 running back, 3 tight ends.
Yep.
They got them to fill those out. What do you think of tomorrow with Kelsey, man?
Yeah, I mean,
Contain.
It's tough because you gotta take him away, but then you allow other players to get involved, whether that's DeAndre Hopkins, whether that's Hollywood Brown, whether that's Xavier Worthy, whether that's Noah Gray, whether that's Hendershot. So it just really comes down to doing what you did kind of the first game, and it was he was 2 for 8, two catches, 8 yards. The first time. So they have to kind of do the similar thing. You shut down Kelsey and you probably are going to be in a good spot.
I think they're in a good spot just by nature of how Bobby Babbitt structured a defense that we were almost unfamiliar with as fans last week. Got in a little bit of base. He mixed and shaked with some of those dog blitzes. That was really cool to see. But I think we have an opportunity this week with that left side of the line for the Chiefs. It is abhorrent. It does not match how they were playing before. You got Joe Tui. He's a backup guard playing left tackle. That can be exposed with a big game out of Epinesa, with a big game out of Rousseau, out of Vaughn Miller. And then you got Caliendo, who is a backup left guard. That left side of the line is a liability to me, Matt. What are you thinking? How do they compromise for a weakness that they have put down on film, and they've gotten lucky getting away with how far they've gotten with such a glaring problem?
Yeah, I mean, their interior offensive line is very, very good.
Very good.
Very good. But I think that the Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, Von Miller are going to be able to take advantage of their tackles. They got to keep Mahomes in the pocket as much as they possibly can. They have to get pressure up the gut with Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Jordan Phillips, and they have to do what they did the first time. They had 37.1% of the time they put pressure on Mahomes. They have to do the same thing.
Well, when I say we got a comment here too, is not a liability. When I say liability, I'm looking for a chink in the armor in a very positive or powerful offensive line. He's not playing his organic best position. The Chiefs offense has dictated that their natural backup tackle is not as good as one of their best interior guards. He's always been regarded as a guard, and that's a hard switch to play left tackle, especially against a formidable rush opponent. We're going to bring the heat. He is going to be facing perennial All-Pro. So when I say he is a liability, I mean he is a liability as a chink in the armor versus who he is facing. If you're gonna tell me that he plays to the level of Spencer Brown, wrong. If he plays to the level of Deion Dawkins, wrong. He's not even playing the best position for himself. So when I say liability, that's just a glaring hole for me. Maybe a coarse choice of words, but that is how I see it. It could be a talking point, and I hope it is, because that means we got after that ass. Now, if we're going to try and cover Kelsey, right, and we're going to try and spy Mahomes, you put a spy together, you're taking somebody out of coverage. Bernard does a great job of dropping into that dead zone, the hook zone, keeping people off a free release up the hash, putting undue pressure on the safeties. What do you think? Do you think we always say here we don't want anyone pressuring a guy like Pat Mahomes, a guy like Lamar Jackson, who is less athletic than those quarterbacks? Do you think Bernard is the man to do it tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I really do. I think Bernard's going to be, integral part if the Bills were to come out on top. I think that Bernard's going to be an integral part. I think that Milano's going to be an integral part because they have to be able to shut down Kelsey. They have to be able to take away Mahomes, his first couple of reads. And when he starts improvising, they have to be able to get to him.
If you don't get to him, the tethered synergy between the two, it rivals Edelman and Brady. It wasn't so much necessarily Gronk. Gronk, he could do three things. Gronk could burn anybody one-on-one. He could bend it, right, and cover two, or he could beat you on the jump ball. I don't think Kelsey is as much as the player, but if we don't get after that ass, Matt, they're going to be playing a brand of playground ball, which is hard to stop. It's hard to stop. I don't think we have anybody that can match head, shoulders, knees, and toes with a big body like Kelsey, and he finds a way, almost like they are, tethered at the mind when plays do break down. Matt, what are some of the other concerns talking about this Bills defense and what we need to be tomorrow to enact our game plan and give Patrick Mahomes as few opportunities as possible? We'll get some comments very soon.
Yeah, so I want to pull this up here real quickly from what we put out this week with our defense and offensive reports. Just give me 1 second. I can break it down for you a little bit more.
No problem. If you guys can check out Jake, our head of data analytics. He had a great podcast last night with ex-Bill Jeremiah Sears. He's now an agent. It's just a good thing. And I get to a text I did get, and I did, if you don't mind. I know, no shout outs. I know, no shout outs. But we're texting Bud Carpenter earlier, and I thought he encapsulated it best. Buffalo's probably the better team versus Kansas City, but Kansas City might have the edge on coaching. Buffalo's had an awful lot of luck go their way, particularly against Baltimore, and they are going to need a little bit more than that tomorrow. In the simplest terms, turnovers will determine the game. The Bills plus 24 on the turnover margin. The Ravens put it on the dance floor 3 times last week, and we took absolute advantage of that.
They have to get Mahomes to turn the ball over once at minimum, and then play very, very, I don't want to say safe, but they have to play very within themselves, and Josh has to take care of the ball. But I do want to touch on this real quickly
quickly. Mahomes, well, he hasn't really turned the ball over like in the last 8 games.
He hasn't had a turnover since week 11. The Chiefs have not had a turnover since week 11 when they played the Bills.
All right. Well, Inflictor, we'll get to what you're saying, Matty, the defense.
Yeah. So their top personnel that they played against the Chiefs in week 11 was a 3-3-5, which is 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and a 5 defensive backs.
It's safety rocking in the alley.
They success rate on that was 50% of the time. So if you see that formation out there, you're going to see probably close to that 50% success rate. They also have personnel of 4-2-5, which is your nickel defense, your 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and your 5 defensive backs. They were actually very not
You're
very
gonna
successful.
Cam Lewis on the side.
They were not very successful on that. It's telling me 0% success rate on that against the Chiefs. So and then on top of that too, 2-4-5. They played 2 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and 5 in the back. And they were a little bit more successful there than they were in 3-3-5. So it'll depend. It'll really depend on what that they decide to run, what they want to do against the Chiefs tomorrow. Because the last time, and we can sit here and say, oh, we didn't have Milano, we didn't have Spencer Brown, we didn't have this player. The Chiefs also didn't have the Chiefs also did not have Marquise Brown. They didn't have Pacheco. They didn't have Jalen Watson. And those things are gonna rear their ugly head for the Bills.
Very good. I like it. And that brings us to what? Matt, the P and the P. Talk to me. What is it? The Peak and
the Pit.
The Peak and the Pit. That is sponsored by Fubo TV. Fubo TV for the best clarity, for the best streaming services, for the best live action tomorrow. If you're tuning in 6:30 at Arrowhead Stadium, you're going to catch Nance and Roma on the call. So if you need Fubo TV, if you're still muddling around with the cable provider after all these storms we've had, use Fubo TV, and for a little extra je ne sais quoi off your wallet, use code DO at checkout. Get yourself a couple dimes off. Matt, the Peak and
the Pit.
The Peak and the Pit. It's a segment where we tell each other what is the peak we have to ascend to, but all to guarantee victory, and what is the pit in your stomach of how we go home with a premature exit.
Yeah, I'll let you go first on this time.
The peak here for me, Matt, the peak for here is what I just brought up on that Bud Carpenter text. It is us taking care of the football. It is us taking care of the football when we dish out the football to many mouths. That ball is going to end up, it's going to look like a Thanksgiving extendo table with everybody trying to eat. Let's not fumble the yams, okay? It doesn't matter if it's Davis. It doesn't matter if it's Johnson. It doesn't matter if it's Cook. Take care of the rock, okay? In defense, take it away, okay? If you see the drunken uncle having too many OV splits at the end, take it away. Don't play reckless. Don't pitch that ball on the goal line. That's what Kelsey likes to do. But that is the peak to me. The peak of which I think we will usurp to is we will take care of that football and we will have game control. Matt, what's the peak?
Real quickly, you see it on our screen right now and on our overlay. I just wanted to touch on it real quickly. Josh was having a little fun with the media, and they asked him, about pitching the ball last week on the goal line, because you could clearly see his brain malfunctioning a little bit and him wanting to, pitch that. And he was asked if young Josh Allen would have pitched that ball.
And Neffy was like, do it.
He said young Josh Allen would have pitched that ball to James Cook.
Absolutely. Maddie, tell me what the peak is that we have to ascend to guarantee a victory.
I honestly think it's got to be the offensive line and the running back room. They have to be able to open holes. They have to take advantage of the spots on the Chiefs' defensive line in Karlaftis, who is not the best against run. He's not bad, but he's not the best against the run. And anytime he's over top of either James or Spencer Brown or Deion Dawkins, they have to be able to take advantage of that.
All right, and pivoting to the pit in my stomach, Maddie, I'll start. The pit in my stomach is me remembering who they have. The pit in my stomach is remembering who they have at wide receiver. They have Brown. They have Hopkins. They have Smith-Schuster. I don't want their name reverberating on the PA system and reminding us what we're up against when we don't have rap, when we have kind of a little bit of an option in terms of what personnel we're going to be. We're going to be in base. We're going to be in nickel. We're going to be in dime. I don't want to be reminded that they can eat too. I don't want everybody eating on that sideline, because that's when Mahomes, he starts doing this. That means he wants the next play. Look out for it. Have you ever seen that, Matt? When Mahomes gets real fired up, he's got like a little fidget. That means let's go. Let's keep them on their heels. Keep going. The pit in my stomach is you're going to be seeing a lot of that and a lot of different names on that PA announcer. Matt, what's a pit in your stomach that all but guarantees a loss for Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, my pit in my stomach is not being able to cover Kelsey, not being able to stop not only cover Kelsey, but also to stop Chris Jones from getting in the backfield.
I love it. And here we go. We're gonna do one more off the rack segment. This sponsored by Fat Boy Surf Club. Hey, it's good enough for Ryan Vandermark. It's good enough for Spencer Brown. It's good enough for Big AA. Who's Big AA?
Alec Anderson.
Yeah, baby. Fat Boy Surf Dog. Alec Anderson. Dog. Everything you need.
Nothing you don't. It's
the Fat Boy Surf Club. If you want 20% off, just go do a checkout. Hey, Matt, off the rack. Something really simple. Something really dumb. They do two different things. Just a nice little equipment segment. Josh, he's got that sewn in pocket in his Nike Vapor jersey, whereas Patrick Mahomes actually uses a traditional hand warmer. We'll bring it back up one more time so you can see the difference. Pat Mahomes, hey man, I'm of the volition where, I'm crown balding, so I don't have dreadlocks, but if I had dreadlocks, I wouldn't give anybody else something to grab onto. As you can see on the screen, he does play with that traditional hand warmer, whereas Josh, coming up on the screen right now, Josh does play with a pocket sewn in to his Nike Vapor jersey. So that is one of the equipment changes that we highlighted. We highlighted before that DeMar Hamlin last week was wearing a Guardian cap to prevent against any further cranial injuries. Be interested if Benford wears one this game, but that is Off the Rack, sponsored by Fat Boy Surf Club. We'll get to some of your comments here. Maddie, what's the first one we got here? Thank you for everybody. Log in, sign up, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down, harass me for just being insufferable on air, but thank you for suffering with me. Matt, let's get some of these comments here.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, contrasts the comments have been. I really appreciate everybody in there. G-Pick, Chiefs Dynasty, Easy 3-peat. It's hard to beat a team twice in the NFL. It is, but it's also being it's a lot of fun, because
They're not getting this type of action in this division.
This truly is, no offense to the NFC, this truly is the Super Bowl. And truly, I truly believe whoever wins this game will win the Super Bowl. Whether it's the Bills, whether it's the Chiefs, I truly think that they'll go into either, into New Orleans and either Washington or Philly.
I truly don't think that guy believes that's an easy three-peat. Nothing's easy. That's the reason it hasn't been done in a very long time.
It's never done. It's never been done in football.
Yeah, but if there was a team to do it,
it is the Chiefs.
But if there was a team to beat them, it's the
Bills.
So I do appreciate the comments. You got any more stewing in there? I do appreciate that no one has called me a poor version of Harrison Phillips. It's very kind of you all. Bro, Josh Allen is a great quarterback. He absolutely is. He's a great general. He's a great motivator, and he's a great person to root for. He's easy to root for. The Chiefs guy is a douche. I mean, he's not as big a
shout
douche.
out Kevin Elliott.
Shout out Chiefs Aholic. How's that 17.5 year bid for armed robbery going? By the way, if you do have a Netflix account, mute that documentary because it is the most categorically useless thing I've ever watched. I mean, how do you let a bank robber get away in like a Kia Soul?
That's crazy.
I mean, that's just bad for their bureaucratic system over there. Let's tighten it up over there, lads. Right? I mean, the only thing we're gonna steal is a victory tomorrow because it's everything you need
and nothing you don't.
Maddie,
yo,
who you talking to, bud?
I'm not 100% sure, so I will let you go.
Nah,
first.
You know I'm going second because you know who I'm talking to.
All right,
bud.
yeah, I know. So for me, this goes out to all of the players on the team. I'm talking to the Bills. I'm talking to the team itself. This is your chance. 2020, first time, Josh's first time, past a wild card, past a divisional in the AFC Championship game. It wasn't Patrick Mahomes' first time, and this is your chance to kind of go through and win. This is your chance to kind of, go back, throw it back to the ghosts of Buffalo past, Marv Levy, Jim Kelly, Darryl Talley, Bruce Smith. Let's get over the hump. Let's get over the hump and win this game.
I like that.
And prove to the rest of the NFL that we're here and we can win this game.
So Maddie's going to bring up a graphic because I'm talking to somebody a little bit more inanimate in my life. I have my brother standing right next to me. We lost our father in February, unfortunately. It's a picture of him on the screen. And we saw a great t-shirt today, Avenge the 90s, win one for your dad. So I'm talking to my dad. Hey man, just, one before we die, unfortunately. And I just want to say, I miss you very much. And you deserve this win. So I hope you're looking down and you give us a thing.
God bless. Go Bills.
There we go, guys. Maddie, good show, buddy.
Yeah, it was definitely, definitely want to thank everybody for commenting and, let's just all agree, get out of this game healthy and whoever wins, let's just have some fun tomorrow and tomorrow at 6:30, let's have some fun. Let's continue the banter back and forth and let's go. Let's go Bills.
Hey, Matt, hit me with that video all the way at the top.
Good to be seen,
all right?
right?
Good to be seen.
Hey, Matt.
Good to be seen,
all
right?
right? Good to be seen.
Hey, guys.
Good to be seen.
Peace. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Oh.